Hi there. One of my favorite ways to make supper when it is a day that I'm doing a whole bunch of canning is to use my crock pot. So this is not a canning recipe, this is just a dinner recipe. But you know what, sometimes when I'll do a canning project in the morning, we'll have lunch, I'll do a canning project in the afternoon. By the time supper time comes around, I just don't feel like cooking anymore. I'm tired. So my crock pot is something that I use during canning season, as well as in the winter when it's cold and you want to have all your soups and everything so it smells good. So I'm going to make some chili today because we haven't had chili in a while, and I thought I would just show you how I make it. This is with home canned products, obviously. The first thing I do is I have a pint of ground beef, or wait, this is ground elk actually, but you can use elk, you can use beef, you can use deer, venison, you could even use pork if you want, whatever kind of meat you want. In fact, for that matter, you could use chicken. A pint of meat, whatever you want. Now today I have a quart of just plain tomatoes. Sometimes I will make this recipe, see if I can do this without splashing. Sometimes I will make this recipe with a jar of stewed tomatoes that already has the onions and the peppers in it. But it's garden season and I had a whole bunch of peppers in my garden, so I decided to just use some fresh onions and peppers. But if you don't have fresh, use a stewed tomato and it works the same way. So here is my fresh onions and peppers. I already chopped them. I do a cup of peppers and a cup of onions, and this is all to taste. So that's the nice thing about this recipe, is it's not canning where you really have to make sure that you get the exact measurements. So I probably have a little bit more than a cup of onion, but I just chopped up one, actually was a half of a large onion, and so that's what I'm going to use. I dump that in there. And then I have this kind of hiding because the next ingredient would be home canned beans. I am using store-bought beans because I don't have any home canned beans right now. So just use this as a lesson. If ever any of these recipes where you're just cooking for dinner, if you don't have the home canned product, you can use the store-bought. It works just the same. I don't think the flavor is quite the same, but today for convenience, I am just using a can of, this is kidney beans. Now this size can is actually a little bit shy of the number of beans that I would normally put in this recipe, because usually I would put, let me look here, I would put a whole quart of home canned beans, and in my case I often can beans in pints, so I would use 2 pints. But you know what, it's okay, because this chili that we're going to have tonight, it'll just have lots of meat in it and a little bit less beans, and it's no big deal. Everybody likes more meat, right? So I'm just going to do 1 can of kidney beans, and then my spices. So I have a teaspoon of salt, I have 1/8 of a teaspoon of paprika, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and then I have 2 teaspoons of chili powder. And I'm going to put that in there, and I think that's it. Yep, everything is in there. Now I'm going to just stir this up. Give this a quick stir so that the spices go throughout the juices. And I'm going to plug this in. I'll put it over there out of the way. I'll go to my canning project, which I have just getting ready out behind me. When I'm done with my canning project, I don't have to worry about trying to quickly get cleaned up to get supper going, because I have supper going already. So use your crock pot. It's really a nice way to do it. This is a super easy chili to make, and again, adapt it to your taste. If you want to add a little bit more cayenne, make it a little spicier, you can do that. Be really conscious with the cayenne. Yeah, and that's it. So I hope that was helpful. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'm going to go can my tomatoes and zucchini. We'll see you in the next video.